Was there some book or uh, TV show or something that you watched where you're like, oh, it's not that these people are wrong, it's that these people are intentionally misleading me?
Yeah, like it's hard to say if it was a show. It was more for me, just the race hustlers, I think, in
Okay.
general. And that came, I don't want to like kind of shortchange that moment when it clicked that, that can be traumatizing really for a lot of people. Definitely if a lot of these folks are your family members, you know what I mean, that had been saying things that simply were not true, but it seemed like they were wanting to protect that status quo or perception of what you were supposed to have, and definitely in my case, and what you were being black. And that was a huge point in my life. Like, wait a minute. So that was not true. All of the stuff that I had learned or I was taught was not true. And there's a lot of people definitely within this community, within the church, that I had to look to through a different lens, because I'm like, that's bogus. Like a lot of that stuff is just certainly bogus. So for me, it was less about, watching a show or anything. It was more about even like people that I knew and were close to me or family, just because they were still obviously perpetuating that. And it could be almost traumatizing, I would say, when you have to come to terms with the fact that for the large majority of your life, you'd been lied to. And it was like that. And the reason that they were doing that really because they were protecting their own tails and protecting their own bacon. I looked at it like, if there's always these issues that persist and they really can't solve them, it keeps them where they're at. You know what I mean? And that's in these various positions of power, politically, sociopolitically, whatever that it is, that they always have something to strive for and never have actually a solution to the problem. And again, that being even family members was really big for me. And it made me feel some kind of way.
Is there drama now? I mean, do folks in your family have TDS, like when you're home at Thanksgiving or Christmas, something like that?
They know not to talk to me about it anymore.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
So you
thankfully,
won.
yeah, I won. That's a victory for me. So they know not to bring that up with me. I think a lot of it's just because intellectually they know they're not there,
Yeah.
because I talk about this stuff daily, and they don't want to go down that with me anymore. So certainly I won, but it is always funny because I have those family members that tend to agree with me, but they wouldn't do it publicly because of our own individual family. And they're like, they're going to look at me some kind of way. Like, hey, Ken Folk, I got a cousin that's like, he's right there with me. He wouldn't dare tell everybody else that, but he's like, yeah, man, Ken Folk, I agree with you. I saw videos on this, man. I agree with you 100%, but he wouldn't dare put himself out there for like the family to actually believe or have him believe what I believe. He'd never put himself out there like that. But thankfully for me, I haven't had, even on my father's side, none of those guys' side have they actually came at me and was like wanting to have those conversations with me even being around.